What if you could get a premium, custom 3D logo for less than the price of a nice dinner out? This sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, today we're going to dig into a company that claims to do just that. They're challenging the entire design industry with a price that seems, honestly, too good to be true. Let's break down how they say they pull it off.
All right, let me kick things off with a question for you. If you were starting a business tomorrow, what would you expect to pay for a really great logo? You know, the kind that actually looks professional and makes you stand out? Just get a number in your head.
Okay, got one? Well, for a lot of people, a high-quality, custom job from a decent design agency, that's going to set you back at least 50,000 rupees. And honestly, it can go way, way higher. So let's use that as our baseline. That's the established market price.
But what if that whole way of thinking is just wrong? What if a company came along and said that price is completely inflated? Well, that's exactly the claim we're looking at today.
And this is their number, $14.99. To put that in perspective, that's about 3% of that 50,000 rupee agency price we just talked about. And they're not talking about some cheap template here. They claim this is for a premium 3D logo with a bunch of concepts and revisions. The gap is just massive.
So this leads to the big question, right? How on earth is this possible? There has to be a catch. Are they cutting corners somewhere? Or have they actually figured out a genuinely new way of doing things? Let's get into the mechanics of their model.
All right, so first, let's look at the problem they're actually trying to solve. For a long time, professional branding has been a super expensive service. It's basically been a luxury that only established companies could afford, which leaves a huge gap in the market for pretty much everyone else. And this really puts it into perspective. On one side, you have the traditional agency world, where the prices are just in a different stratosphere. And on the other, you've got this company, TRUEDEAL, operating on a completely different financial planet. Their entire business is built around making this stuff accessible.
So this brings us to their core pricing model. And their argument is that it's not just about being cheaper, it's about totally redefining the value you get for that incredibly low price.
Let's just park on that number for a second, because literally everything they do revolves around it. It's their hook, their headline, their entire strategy boiled down to 4 digits. So what do you actually get for that?
Okay, the amount of stuff they promise here is pretty wild. We're talking 10 to 15 unique 3D concepts to start with. And then, and this is the real kicker, unlimited revisions. I mean, think about that. That basically removes all the risk for the customer. Plus, you get all the profiles, a commercial license for life, and the whole thing is done in under a week.
When you lay it all out side by side like this, the difference is just night and day. Price, turnaround time, revisions, on every single key metric, their model is designed to be the complete opposite of a traditional agency. And they're clearly banking on huge volume, pointing to over 10,000 projects as proof of their experience.
Okay, so we've seen what they're offering. Now for the 1,499 rupee question, how do they do it? What's the secret sauce that lets them offer all this for such a low price?
So at the heart of their whole strategy is this concept they call intelligent scaling. And the big idea here isn't to be cheap, it's to be hyper-efficient. They argue that they're not cutting quality, they're just using technology and super optimized workflows to eliminate all the wasted time and money that drives up prices at old-school agencies.
And it seems to boil down to 3 main pillars. First, they use AI-assisted workflows to generate a ton of initial ideas really quickly. Second, they use what they call template optimization, which sounds like a massive library of high-quality design pieces they can adapt. And third, they are just obsessed with maximizing efficiency, from the moment you submit your brief to the final delivery.
But it turns out that $14.99 logo is just the beginning. It's really just the product that gets you in the door. From there, they've built a much larger branding ecosystem.
Yeah, just look at this. They have expanded way beyond just logos. They've built out a full-service branding operation. We're talking complete brand identity kits, social media assets, packaging, even brand strategy. That cheap logo is clearly the lead magnet for a whole suite of other, much bigger services. So, okay, does this actually work in the real world? Well, their source material points to a case study about a startup that used their service right before they went to raise money. And the key quote is this one right here. It directly connects the professional look of their branding to a successful $500,000 funding round.
And this really gets to the core of their value proposition, right? Return on investment. A tiny expense of less than 1,500 rupees might have played a role in locking down $500,000 in funding. The ROI on that is, well, it's almost unbelievable.
And it's not just for tech startups raising money. Here's an example from the e-commerce world. A fashion brand used them for packaging design. The result? A reported 40% jump in repeat customers, which they say is directly because of a better unboxing experience.
Now, just when you think you've got their model all figured out, low-cost entry, upsell to a bigger ecosystem, there's another really surprising layer to this business.
They've turned their entire operation into a franchise model. So instead of trying to hire designers all over the world, they're essentially selling their process as a business in a box. Partners pay a one-time investment to get access to their whole system and flow of clients, and then they earn a commission on every project. It's a really interesting low-overhead way to scale a service business across the globe.
So after breaking all of this down, the pricing, the process, the ecosystem, and this franchise model, what's the big picture here? What's the main idea we should walk away with? It all boils down to this. They're making a big bet that technology and smart processes can totally democratize the creative industry. The goal is to make professional, high-quality design something that's accessible to a solo entrepreneur or a small startup, not just a special privilege for big companies with deep pockets.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty big question. Is this model the future? Can process and technology really replace that high-touch, high-cost agency model for good? Or is there always going to be a place for both? Definitely something to think about.